check this out. He says his last service says Aaron's probably writing a review of Amir.
Oh no.
Videos.
Okay, so speaking of that, that is actually my topic. I try not to like respond back on either Audio Science Review or on his, because like, sometimes I feel weird about like disagreeing with somebody on their platform. Just because I feel like it's a little bit disrespectful sometimes, like we can talk about it here though. This is our platform.
Yeah.
And so, he made a hour-long video talking about, how to review speakers, and kind of like the way I took it is like he's saying like why his method is the best, or why he thinks it's the best. And I said, my comment there was, I agree 90 to 95% of what was said here. I mean, that's pretty good. Do we agree 90 to 95%? I don't know. Maybe like 85, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a pretty high amount. And then the first comment was this guy who says, why would anybody care what you think? You did a test on Bose's direct reflecting speaker, and you only pointed the mic at Mike, spelled like you, mic at the woofer, and you're wondering why it sounded so bad because anyway.
Yeah.
So like, I don't want to get in, I'm not interested in an argument,
Right, sure.
I thought, 90-95% is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty
argument.
high.
I'm down. What am I arguing?
Yeah, he's where was the comment here? So people know. Just in response to Amir's video. So he made a video that said reviewing speakers, measurement, and listening tests. Right? And so I watched the whole thing, an hour long, and like I said, I agree with most of the stuff, but what's the point? We're not going to talk about all the stuff we agree on.
Yeah,
but it's easier for me to talk about the stuff we don't necessarily agree on, right?
Sure.
So in one part, he says that, that our ears get used to bad sound. Like, how some people, I know what he's saying. Some people, they test some speakers, and then after a while, they're like, you know what? The speaker's broken, and I like them so much better now, right? And what he's saying is like, yeah, your ears just got used to that sound, right? And what he was trying to say was, he gets speakers in and out very quickly because he throws them on the clipboard, maybe a day or two, he gets them out, and he's kind of defending his position that, people are saying, well, how could you possibly know in a day or two what a speaker sounds like?
Right.
And that's what he said, it's actually better because I listen to it real quick, and then that's it. I don't have that issue with getting used to the bad sound or good sound, whatever. My argument is, if that's true, if it's true that our ears get used to any speaker, then who cares then, right?
Yeah.
Just get any speaker, you'll get used to it.
Yeah.
And I don't really believe that that's true, because what does listening fatigue come from? Sometimes I'll listen to a speaker,
little too much highs. Yeah.
Right? You'll listen to a speaker at first, you might think like, oh man, these are a little more detailed than I'm used to. Maybe these are good. And then you listen for a while and you're like, that's not detailed. That's just too much treble. Right? After you
too much trouble or too much treble? Oops, wrong one.
Wow.
For me, it's not like we're listening for, well, maybe Chana, but I don't listen for hours and hours at a time. I'll listen, I'll walk away, I'll come back the next day after listening to my reference system, and I'll listen again, and I'll walk away, and I'll come back, after a few days. I think that's a little bit different because our sense of anything, you get used to anything, right? So when you smell something for a certain amount of time, you get used to the smell and you don't smell it, right? Even like our eyes, right? Your eyes get used to that, when it goes into that night mode and your screen turns yellow, you get used to it. It doesn't look yellow anymore. So I think all of our senses do that, but the way to fix it is you step away. Step away and come back, and, then you start getting a different perspective, like, oh, okay. So anyway, my point being on that one, I don't agree that prolonged listening is detrimental to a review, right? I think the more you can go back to it after listening to other speakers too, that's helpful. What do you guys think about that?
Definitely, 100%. 100%.
To me, I think it's because I've seen several videos, probably even over the past couple of weeks, that are kind of making comments about just other people that they see in this space.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find it funny is the fact that they feel that, their way is better.
Mm-hmm.
I could care less how somebody else reviews a speaker or an amplifier. I'm not going to watch somebody's video and go, oh, he's dumb because he does it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it's your channel. You do it however you want to do it. You have a relationship with your audience, just like I've got a relationship with mine. I have a way of doing videos and my style. It might be different than yours, but unless I'm just putting out absolute incorrect information, my way is different. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I just think it's funny that it's this almost like an elitist kind of mentality that I'm better than you kind of deal. And it's like, whatever, and I'm okay with that. If you want to think that you're better, go for it, man. What? I'm being
you're
Reginald.
Reginald, you're bad.
Yes, it's true. You get used to that ugly woman in bed with
nice.
you. LOL.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Glad I married a gorgeous woman. And
So that's
Man.
not. I have no idea about any of that. But so another thing that he's saying is like reviewing numerous speakers side by side. Like he talks about how JBL in their listening room, it rotates through the different speakers, and that is he kind of made it sound like that's the only way to do it properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I get like, the comparative listening, but to me, it's kind of like that. Isn't that what we're doing? Like when you change out your speakers and you kind of listen to the same tracks over and over, right? I do. For me, like he says, like he uses EQ, so he EQs it and then goes back and forth. But that's pretty easy for me to do. Like I turn Dirac on and off. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like we're not doing that. No. How easy is that to do to just turn the EQ on and off? So anyway, I think my point is like I think a lot of us do that. It's not just him that's doing that. But yeah, to me, listening to different speakers in the same listening area, sometimes I'll have them both side by side and I'll go back and forth between the two. It's not blind, but so
you can definitely tell like differences for sure. 100%. And I know like exactly what all these speakers sound like. Even the Klipsch RF73s and the RP280s that I've gotten rid of like years ago, I still know what they sound like. I still know what I had to do to my equipment to make them sound good.
Yeah.
Right? I know on these tracks, I gotta bring the treble down 2 notches. Otherwise coming into that third hour, that like really harshy, like it's like something's coming at me. In the highs there. So yeah, I know exactly what I had to do, and for all these speakers, and that's why I'm like, I was surprised that those Polk floor standing speakers, they got more bass than those. Than those new ELACs. And it's just like, wow, dude, the price disparity on these things is insane. So
what do you think, Michael, on that? Like, comparing speakers side by side. Now that you can hear yourself on your mic and you.
Yeah. So one thing that's hard with comparing speakers is, and I've always wondered this, is you do have time, especially. All right. So the first thing is, let's say you have 2 sets of speakers. Well, if you put a set of speakers on the outside and a set of speakers on the inside, technically they're in different positions, so there could be a difference there. Soundstage could be totally different. The way it's interacting with your room could be totally different. Some people choose to alternate them. So you do like A, B, and then A, B. So they're, side by side.
So they're equidistant apart.
Yeah. And then you'd have to kind of like, I guess, scoot over to get in the, depending on which set of speakers you're listening to.
Luckily, I don't have enough room, so I don't have that problem.
I
have to move the speakers.
The truth is really this, right? After reviewing so many speakers, we get the opportunity to review so many speakers. And the truth is, there's some difference that are just so obvious that it's almost not even, it doesn't matter where you put them. Like, this is an obvious difference. Yeah, right? Somebody told me on my HomePod review, like, I compared them with bookshelf speakers, like, oh, it wasn't a blind test. I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's blind test or not. This is so obvious. Maybe some of the more intricate stuff.
You can't hear that.
You should for the stuff that's where it's close. Some stuff is not even close, right? So why would I waste my time, right? A lot of it is